Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. Just want to give some motivation to the sisters who have not joined OnlyFans or any hybrid site, something of that nature. I want to let you know that you are golden roses in the mud, amongst the mud, surrounded by mud, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for not selling out your virtue, your dignity, your honor, your grace, in order to get a little bit of cash so that you can buy things that are just gonna sit in your closet, lose the allure in about a month or so. I just really hope you sisters stay away from any type of feminist hijabi or these covert women who I notice are encouraging girls to take off their hijabs. You don't have to cover, and you can just make more money doing hijabi genres on those sites. I want you to know that those women, they will answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the horrors of Jahannam are beyond our imagination. If a nightmare is bad, I can't imagine a place that was created to serve justice to those who deserve it, by the one who created everything from the ants to the seed that grows on the tallest mountain, the tiny acorn that grows the biggest trees, all the different biodiversity in the earth, all being magnificent and in accord with one another as it grows in the biome. The one who created that, having then created a place where people will have their full accounting for their sins, you can only imagine what's going to be there and how there is no escape. All of that money those women are earning destroys their inner selves, rots society, takes advantage of vulnerable men, and helps to make women less and less valuable, less and less honorable, and causes more mental trauma than what the left-leaning media and researchers want to admit. We know that beauty is a weapon and that beauty is a trial. If you're very beautiful and you're in your prime, sometimes you want to show it. Sometimes you feel like others should see this. Others should be with it. And I would encourage you to reserve it. Save it for your husband. It's not wasting it. Don't listen to these feminists who tell you that by letting every guy see you put something on you, in you, that's bedazzled or whatever, and they pay you $5 or they pay you $50, doesn't matter, that somehow is a fair exchange, because it isn't a fair exchange, because you yourself will have to answer for that. And all the women who you hurt by making their husband lust for you, he'll be held accountable for that. And maybe one day when you love someone and you find out that a chick that was just like you stole him from you and your heart is forever broken, that's going to be painful. And so you don't want to put the evil out into the world, that if it happened to you, it would hurt if you really loved that person. It's hard to resist the satanic, evil cloud that just clutches in your soul, that just pollutes your mind and goes all up in you by these feminists. They have been granted this sort of filthy, dark, potent energy that is allowed to override women, override men, and kind of chain them to the most base desires. And atheist women are incapable of seeing this because they don't have the same honor code. They don't have the same view of justice. They don't have the same view of evil, of goodness. They're so haughty that they don't even fear what lies beyond when you die. And they simply think they'll live forever, they'll always be healthy, that nothing bad will happen to them, that they don't need to think about others and stuff like that, because they don't fear God. They don't fear the one who made them. They don't have that sense of mercy. And so when they sell themselves, it's even more diabolical and corrosive. So if you are a Muslim girl and you've never uploaded to these websites, you've resisted sending images of yourself to men, please be careful, because there are people who will prey upon good Muslim girls and good girls in general, especially Christian girls too, and they will take your nudes and they'll take your booby pics and upload them to the internet for money and monetize them, or share them in private chats on WhatsApp and do everything else, and they'll be out there. You don't want that. And if a guy is pressuring you for nudes and he's pressuring you for these kinds of pics, he's probably addicted to porn, and he's going to be doing things behind your back that are going to erode your trust and love in the relationship, and you should avoid him. Please just try to look up to women who do better. I know it's hard, like when you see these women and they have plastic surgery, 1700 layers of makeup, fake eyelashes, fake nails, Botox lips. They're a total artificial creation, right? And they just have this kind of robotic personality that's deeply fused in money and attention seeking. And sometimes their energy, it's like there's a magnetism there, and you think that is success, that is, achievement. I want to do that. I don't recommend you going towards that light, right? I recommend that you go with the women who are doing the harder thing, which is keeping their clothes on. Keeping your clothes on and not doing porn and not doing these things is a revolutionary act. That is how you buck the system. That is how you kick sand in the face of Shaitan. That is how you earn the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by saying no. And staying away from women who want to disrobe you, who want you to be fed on, who want you to be preyed upon, who lie to you and say that the shape of your clothing, the color, the texture, the way you walk, none of that matters. Meanwhile, you'll see fashion shows that literally show the opposite. The wardrobes of certain women bring on a certain thought process, a certain exchange of mind, and other factors that make you see that the clothing enters into the psychological context of both involved and all viewers. So for them to pretend like clothing doesn't matter, to pretend that the way you walk, talk, and carry yourself doesn't matter, and that the whole world is supposed to just bow to your feet and no negative consequences can ever come. This is an illusion. Evil touches everyone regardless of wardrobe, but it does attract itself more to certain types of women because of how they carry themselves, what kind of energy they give out. And some of the women are in complete denial. It's like walking around with meat all over your body and then going around a bunch of hungry wolves and expecting the wolves to just sit down and be good. This is something that you shouldn't risk. It's just not something you should do. And that you can learn through habits to love being modest. If you would have told me when I was 18, or told me when I was working out in sports bras and short shorts in the gym, because I had an atheist boyfriend at the time who was a very negative influence on me looking back, that I would adore wearing a khimar, a hijab, niqab, you name it, the traditional Islamic clothing, that I would enjoy it, that I'd feel protected by it, I would have never believed you. I would have been like, what? Nah, whatever. But now, being on the other side, being a mother, now being a stay-at-home mom, having a complete shift in my lifestyle, and going on the other side of the fence, it's like, wow, I wish I would have learned this at a younger age. I wish I would have listened to the religious women that I knew at the time, instead of the empowered feminists, atheists, and the thug girls. They led me astray. They misguided me. I wish I would have never listened to hip-hop music and rap music and seen those women. I wish I would have never seen them and just stayed around the Mormon people and the Christian people. There was no Muslims at that time. And then later discovered Islam and then came to the faith through that way. But now I see how foolish it was to mock the modest in favor of the hedonists. And I think more and more women will come to that realization because the beautiful thing that Allah does for women is He makes us age. And when you see someone 19 years old, you see that Allah has made them in their youth. And then when you get to your 30s and you're honest with yourself, you're like, there's a difference there. There's a difference there that even women can recognize in terms of this nectar that irradiates from those women. And you're like, we have to go into old age with grace. One of the most powerful things was when I was working in a fine dining Italian restaurant. There would be the majority of the customers were elderly women and elderly men. Some of these elderly women had class. They had like these nice suits, like grandma suits, They were slender. They had their hair done. They were just classy. I'd never seen like that type of a classy woman. And they had a tartness to their tongue that was just full of wisdom, and they were classy. And sometimes they would look out for me and tell me like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And look up on me like and see how everything is. And I thought, if I'm old, I want to kind of be as wise as them. And there's other types too. When you see old women working on the farm, or when you see older women shoveling snow, they're still strong physically, and they got their wits about them, or they're very loving and caring. They're not these older women who I used to serve in the restaurant industry of like, they got their boobs out, they got plastic surgery, Joanne Rivers types who are still trying to look hot and sexy, vulgar, they still have a sex vibe. They haven't matured out of the sex vibe. And they become a fetish in a porn genre. So we're losing in our society, in America I'd say in specific, classy, modest old women and how to be a virtuous mother with dignity. Now they've turned us into MILFs. Moms I like to blank. Right? They've turned women at all stages into something that can be categorized and fapped to. And the secular liberal atheists and the occultists have done this, and then the conservatives have not championed promoting, religious conservatives, both Islamic and Christian, have not championed promoting women to do better. They don't get as much attention. And the nasty, cold-hearted, vampiric-like, broken-hearted, misguided youth will mock modesty. And so we have to learn how to be modest with grace, fortitude, and steadfastness, and to look up to those who do. And I'll share one example. Like when I went to the fairgrounds to go see some of the animals, check out the livestock, there was a niqabi there. She had 4 kids, and I was so happy seeing her that you can't describe it. I was like, wow. Like, wow. Like, I always get excited when I see Muslims, but it was a hot day and she had her niqab on, and she was just doing it. And I was so proud of her. I was like, that's so cool. I saw another Muslim. And even my daughter was like, look, Mom, a niqabi. And I'm like, yeah. And I go, assalamu alaikum. We waved. But like, I felt in my heart this love for a modest woman. And now that Gavin Newsom and the governor of California has made loitering for prostitution legal, I see more and more women in short skirts, high heels, walking up to cars. And I've tried to guide some of those teenage girls, but they're so wild. And the feminists have done so much brainwashing on them that it just breaks your heart, and you ask a lot to guide them. That's all you can do, And so I want you to know that you sisters who have kept yourself virtuous, don't rebel against your father like the feminist, occultist, atheists want. Don't rebel against your mother. Don't sell out for just this money. The attention of those men will fade, and you'll have nothing left but trauma and sins on the day of accounting. If you hold out, be chaste, learn to find satisfaction in other areas of life, cooking, hobbies, gardening, you name it, switch the energy. And don't get attached to your beauty because it will fade. You don't want to be like Madonna or Jennifer Lopez spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on plastic surgery to chase youth that is going to leave. Let it leave. Let your beauty leave. Bye. It was nice knowing you. And focus on having children, grandchildren, creating an empire, and educating your mind, having your tribe. This is what we can focus on. Doing our prayers. These are things that are more noble. And sure, the men aren't going to flock to you and praise you for it. Men don't even watch religious women do content. A lot of the sisters I watch online, they get low views. Even I get low views. And they're better than me. But the girls who aren't even Muslim are acting to Muslim content, uncovered, who maybe look a little bit pretty, racking in thousands of dollars of money. Men will look at uncovered women and help them first before they'll help better women. So don't think that the only way you can feel good about yourself is by getting attention from men. Rather, do it, leave it there like a little basket of gold, hope people partake in it, and then move on to the next. You're not always going to get, the satisfaction of knowing you helped someone or you did something, but you will have your honor intact. So keep your honor intact. And if you're in school and you're hearing these dirty girls and seeing what they watch on TikTok and hearing their vulgar conversations, exit their vicinity. Get away from them. Avoid them. It's better to be alone at school and do your homework and go home than to be around girls who are going to pollute your reputation. Dirty hangs with dirty. Pure goes with pure. A black stain cannot ever match with a white, pure cloth. Okay? Oil never really mixes with water. Do not assimilate into their degeneracy, thinking that you will not get any of that stain upon you. Avoid them. They don't matter. Get through your lessons and move on and keep your reputation intact. This is what I recommend. As a big sister, as a mother, as an auntie, you name it, watch out. Watch out. Protect yourself. You're golden roses in the field of mud. Don't fall into the mud to please the worms.